If you're hearing this, that means you're one of us. One of the survivors. One of the good ones. This episode is for you.
Good evening, listeners. Thank you for tuning in. It's been a slow week here at the dental clinic. In fact, things have come to an uneasy halt all across LA. And yet there are certain small things that seem to persist with uncanny regularity even after the great or terrible events. The trumpet-shaped flowers of the morning glory still turn to open towards the cloud-muted sun. A coffee maker observes its daily timer for the faithful drinker, whether or not that drinker has survived the night. It occurs to me from time to time that perhaps my voice will reverberate upon bored and unsympathetic ears long after this unraveling society of mine has been wiped from this earth by either the after effects of this nuclear disaster or by the force of yet unknown adversaries. If someone should stumble upon this recording years from now when the irradiated bones of our civilization has all but returned to the poisoned earth, hello, I hope you're hungry. This is Elaine's Cooking Podcast for the Soul. I'm your host, Elaine Martínez. And I hope you'll join me in welcoming our guest and co-host taking the lead on this recipe, Sam Gately.
Elaine! What a fine day to be alive.
I could not agree more, my friend. Now, Sam.
Yes, dear heart.
In the interest of full disclosure,
Go on.
Would you care to tell our dear listeners how we know each other?
Now that is a wonderful story. Elaine Martínez and I have known each other for 8 years. She was the person who showed me around this very dental clinic when I arrived on my first day of work, and I'll never forget the first thing she said to me.
Oh, no.
She said, "Sir, this is an x-ray booth, not a puppet theater. Will you please put those socks back on your feet? You are making our other patients very uncomfortable."
Imagine my surprise when I discovered he was, in fact, my new dental assistant.
And imagine my surprise when I discovered what a dear, dear friend that screaming she-beast would become.
But Sam, we didn't come here to talk about your truly stunning puppetry skills or our long and fruitful friendship.
No, Dr. Martínez, that should be devoted to an entirely separate podcast. We came here so that I could share one of my favorite recipes these days. It checks 3 boxes for me.
What are those boxes, Sam?
It is easy.
1.
The ingredients are shelf-stable.
2.
And it's perfect for sharing.
Sam, you big-hearted goon. When so many are just trying to scrap up enough sustenance for their own corporeal form, you are rejoicing in the concept of sharing.
Hey, nobody survives alone. Even if they did, what would be the point?
Well, you better tell us what exactly this dish is and what goes into it before you melt my heart all over again.
Ooh, you can't melt gold, Elaine.
Well, you can, but that's very sweet.
Oh, shoot, you can. See, this is why I'd never make it alone, Elaine. I sure missed you during last week's 24-hour curfew.
Oh, me too. Sam and I usually get to hang out all day here at the LA Dental Clinic, pretty much right where we're sitting now, on either side of a reclined R1 dental chair. Usually there's a patient lying down between us, but today it is just a nice spread of a few simple ingredients.
Yep. And I hope you don't mind, Elaine, but I've been practicing my carnival barker voice for this next bit. You ready?
Oh, am I ever.
Ladies and gentlemen, non-binary, trans and pans, aces, arrows, he's, she's, theys, and all. To my left, we have the main ingredients. Whole chia seed. To the right of that, a carton of unopened coconut milk sitting on top of a can of coconut milk. If you're asking yourself, oh boy, do I get the coconut milk I like to add to my cereal, or do I get the kind I make with pies or certain Thai dishes with? The answer is simple. Get one of each.
Well said, Sam. What fun we're having. So we've got the chia and not 1 but 2 kinds of coconut milk so far. What's this over here?
Elaine, I'm so glad you asked. It is our main event, the star of the show, our feature ingredient, some medium quality unsweetened cocoa powder.
Oh, how wonderful.
Yep. It is wonderful, Elaine. I got very lucky in finding such a thing from someone willing to consider a trade. Ready to get started?
I sure am. Why don't we put this chair in fully reclined position so we have an even larger working space? There.
Great! I see you've grabbed a set of measuring cups and a whisk, already laid out on this tiny side table here, exactly where I put your dental probes and mirrors.
Today, I am your assistant, Sam.
Wow. Such power. I'm so glad this feeling never went to your head, Elaine.
Well, I had someone very close to me keeping my ego in check.
The office administrator, Jen? She was always such a
Bit particular, yes.
I was going to say Jen's a straight-up B-word.
I was actually talking about you, Sam.
I'm a B-word? You know that means bitch, right?
No, I was saying that you keep my ego in check. You know what? Let's go ahead and just move on. Tell me more about this chia pudding, Sam.
Now, Elaine, we're making nearly 2 quarts of this stuff. That may seem like a lot at first, but remember, this is a shareable delicacy. I wanted it to feed 4 to 6 people.
Got it. Good thing I have this massive stainless steel mixing bowl, usually reserved for mixing plaster.
That's perfect. Now we just start with a cup of this chia seed. I'll add in a 1/4 cup of this unsweetened cocoa powder now. And now the fun part. A full carton of coconut milk. And Elaine, if you could open that can of coconut milk, it'd make a world of difference to me.
Of course, Doctor.
You just gave me chills. Dr. Sam. Sounds good, huh?
It sure does. Here you are.
Great. We add in this entire can as well, and now we whisk vigorously.
Oh, the cocoa powder is doing that silly little thing where it creates little mud islands, and when you really knock into one, there is a dry center that kind of explodes a little.
I call those chocolates because they're kind of late to the party. But they join and mingle eventually if you force them.
Everything appears very cocoa-y and incorporated. What's next, Sam?
Nothing.
Oh my, that was so easy. Let me go get a couple of mugs from the tech lab.
Take your time, Elaine, we're done. But the pudding still needs about 10 or 20 minutes to set before it's really ready to eat. Didn't you mention that there would be a break?
I sure did. The end of the recipe kind of sneaked up on me, I'll admit. But while our chia pudding sets, now is a perfect time for a short break and a word from our overlord advertisers. Sorry, folks. Stay tuned. Stay very still. We'll be right back. Do I just start? Oh, there we go. This week's episode is brought to you by APATH. Want to kind of just stay out of this mess until it blows over? Registering with APATH is a great way to show that you don't care. Perks of signing up include indemnity from the triumphant party should you not cause trouble and survive. Sign up for a 90-day free trial in which a grand jury will review the details of your personal and professional background and declare you to be either suitably indifferent or the other result. To begin registration, simply walk down to Ted's Bread Store and ask the officers outside for the appropriate paperwork. Your 90-day free trial begins immediately, so don't forget to clip your toenails, hug your children, and breathe in some fresh air before you go in for holding and processing. APATH, get apathy with us. It's mandatory.
Thanks. Did it myself. I could do yours too if you want. You haven't been using hair conditioner, have you?
Why?
Oh, Elaine. Everyone knows that after a nuclear event, you have to, 1, shave your head and beard, and 2, avoid conditioner. It locks in moisture right along the airborne radioactive materials.
Oh my. Then I suppose I will take you up on that haircut offer.
We could do it here if we have any downtime tomorrow. Seems like we're seeing fewer and fewer patients these days.
But more of each other. So it's a trade-off. But Sam, as much as I'd like to keep admiring the new clean-shaven look you have, we should probably wrap up this delicious recipe you brought, a Choco Cocoa Chia pudding.
That's right, Elaine. Before the break, we combined a cup of whole chia seeds and a 1/4 cup of the highest quality unsweetened cocoa powder you could find. For us, that's medium quality, folks.
True. Then we added an entire 32-ounce carton of coconut milk plus a whole 13.5-ounce can of coconut milk. We whisked all of these ingredients together and let them rest for 20 minutes.
Fun fact, chia seeds are one of those superfoods that people went crazy for a while ago. They are just extremely healthy, but also happen to taste tolerable and can be added to many different dishes as seeds or in a ground powder form.
plenty of fiber and protein. By itself, it has extremely few calories, but lucky for us, the coconut milks can provide us with that much needed element.
I think this is ready. In a past life, I may have chilled this for another hour after letting these chia seeds soak up what coconut milk they could. But since all our refrigeration and freezer units were seized last week, heck, we're just going to enjoy as is.
Here are our 2 mugs I fetched from the tech lab.
Perfect. I'm just going to fill these guys up. And we're ready to dive right in.
Oh my, Sam. It is chocolatey textured, yet not too heavy.
Oh, shoot. Elaine, I forgot the final surprise. Close your eyes.
What?
It's a simple topping. I'm not adding much to each mug. Just a small fistful for extra crunch and a little kick of sugar.
It's my favorite brand of breakfast cereal. Ass loads of oat clusters with almonds. Sam, this really sets the whole thing off.
I know, right?
Well, I must say, although things appear to be endlessly worsening in the outside world, it is moments like this when I get to dine upon the very genius of my lovely friend and trusted colleague that I feel most like myself.
Elaine, I know exactly what you mean. Now here's the thing.
The thing.
I know what you all are probably thinking. Oh, big fancy dental assistant guy happens to have medium quality unsweetened cocoa powder on hand. Must be nice.
It's fair to say that most people can't afford such luxuries these days.
I just wanted to say, I feel that. I bartered probably more than what is reasonable, a can of tinned meat and 4 packs of top ramen, plus a pair of socks, the fresh ones I was going to make into hand puppets. It is still possible to get chocolate if it's worth it to you, like if you're celebrating a birthday or a reunion with an old friend.
Oh, Sam.
But let's say you don't have chocolate powder. I was hoping I could share a few alternative takes on chia pudding, if you don't mind, of course.
Please do.
So maybe you can't rock that cocoa powder lifestyle just yet. Maybe you have some imitation vanilla to sub in. Maybe you've got part of some canned peaches you can add. Maybe you're the kind of person who has stocked up on granola before this whole nuclear apocalypse unfolded. Add that on top. And if I can be perfectly honest,
I'll brace myself.
the stuff is pretty good on its own. It's just a light yet nutrient-dense snack that can serve up to 6 people. If you're eating this on your own, I'd say you have 3 solid meals here. It probably won't be super safe to eat after sitting unrefrigerated for more than a day, but if you're anything like me, you're no stranger to playing with the boundaries of food safety just to make it through. Have I gotten a tummy ache once or twice?
Okay.
Sure I have. Has E. coli made a visit to the gut of Sam H. Gately just a few times?
I don't know if everybody
Have I
wants...
spent a few sultry nights between a 5-gallon bucket and the toilet seat because I was spewing out of both ends?
Oh, my.
It's just a part of living, baby.
I feel you should stop there.
I'm talking about diarrhea here, folks. We're all dealing with the same diarrhea. And there is really only one way to deal with diarrhea. Loudly and proudly, am I right, Elaine?
Well, I can't deny I've been foolish enough to attempt to will certain items beyond their expiration date and pay the price.
Right. And you paid through the butt for it.
Fine.
With diarrhea!
I wonder if there is a good practices guide to how many times a non-medical podcast should use the word diarrhea.
How many are we at now?
Oh, let me see. I knew this transcription software would come in handy. 6 times. Oh my, I hope we haven't alienated our audience too much.
Nice. Well, the rest of the chia is yours to keep, Elaine. I really got to get going.
Oh, you sure? I mean, I kind of lost my appetite for this chocolate pudding here after all the talk about...
I'm positive. I'm riding my razor scooter home, so I can't really carry the leftovers anyway. I'll see you tomorrow.
I can only hope. Sam, thank you so much for joining me after work hours to put together this truly charming episode.
My pleasure. And if I could leave your audience with one last tip.
By all means.
The best way to deal with diarrhea is prevention. Boil your water and avoid all perishable items, especially vegetables. Barring that, don't be too proud to seek out Imodium. It'll stop you right up in a good way.
Sam Gately, folks.
Good night.
Listeners, there is so much to be said for consistency, the act of being consistent, I mean. The unfolding of the flower every morning, the bubbling coffee pot, the tired but genuine smile of an old friend. How you perceive these small evidences of continued existence, heartbreaking or beautiful, or perhaps a mixture of both, is the only choice left. At a time where everything seems so uncertain, it is tempting to pretend like nothing has changed. But things are changing, and rapidly. It is possible that this podcast will be heard well after the raw wound of this nuclear apocalypse has been healed over by time. On the other hand, perhaps things are about to get inconceivably worse, and these episodes will simply be a few moments of perfectly encapsulated tragic innocence. I dare to be optimistic enough to hope for the former. I hope this humble cooking podcast finds you safe, happy, and turning towards the rising sun. This has been Elaine's Cooking Podcast for the Soul. Please join us next week for another new and clear recipe for our nuclear lifestyle. In the meantime, I'm Elaine Martínez, not crying, hugging you. Good night.
This episode of Elaine's Cooking for the Soul was written and directed by Allison and produced by Mackenzie Mazzell. This show is brought to you by the Period Network. Story by Allison Elaine Martínez was voiced by Rosa Delgado, whom you can follow on Instagram and Twitter at Rosa D. That's ROHZAHDEE. The role of Sam Gately was played by Thomas Anthony Jones. You can follow him on Instagram at TJ in Action. That's TEEJINACTION. TJ loves the city of Cleveland, eating cereal, and masquerading as a superhero, so be sure to give him a follow. The courier bravely transporting Elaine's episodes was voiced by Rachel Wong. Theme music is by Uri Avi. Logo design by Frank Lloyd Wright. Interesting diversion from as usual. Special thanks to Tim Schildberger and Kimberly Stanfill and Live Read LA. Live Read LA offers incredibly helpful script coaching and also writing workshops that can take your writing to the next level. Live Read LA also runs a script writing competition that culminates in a staged reading with talented individuals like our very own TJ here. The events also feature a Q&A with industry insiders like agents, managers, and working television writers, which is pretty amazing. Live Read LA is on Twitter and Instagram by that name, so go check it out. And of course, big thanks to the Boyle Heights Arts Conservatory.
Looks like you're still alive and done with this episode of Elaine's Cooking Podcast for the Soul. Good job on surviving and all that. Kindly pass this USB device along to someone you trust, or return it to the pre-established drop-off location. Remember, we need Elaine, and it's up to us to protect her. So keep listening, keep living, and find us again next week.